it's one of my all-time like favorite Star Wars helmet designs. There's just something so cool about it. It's so Star Wars, but it was the finale, and I have a video, and I actually cried when it was Luke, right? Like I literally cried because it was just everything built up, right? And it's just like that's Star Wars. It's Luke Skywalker coming back, this epicness, and it's just you couldn't believe it. I love Attack of the Clones. Django, people, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it, but I think Django's armor is so much cooler than Boba. I love Django Fett.
Hey guys, it's Jedi Lex, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Tatooine, where I bring on different collectors to talk about how their love of Star Wars originated, as well as take a look at and chat about their collections. And on today's episode, I have Jason from the J2SO channel. So how you doing today?
Good. How's it going?
It's going good. I know that I just saw you at MegaCon not too long
Hmm.
ago, and that was pretty fun. So I'm very excited to finally have you on for an episode of Beyond Tatooine.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, that was wow. Yeah, that was a fun con. A lot of
It
walking
was.
that day.
Yeah, and then you guys hit Disney the next day, so that was
Oh my
probably
god,
even more walking.
I was exhausted, and then I had to go to Supercross in Tampa at night after that. So
Oh
it was crazy.
wow.
Yeah,
That's probably a very long day. That's
it
crazy.
was.
Awesome. Okay. Well, for people who may not know you, can you tell us a little bit about your channel, what you focus on, where people can find you?
Yeah, yeah. So I go by J2SO on Instagram. And I kind of just post random stuff I collect, right? I make some stuff, like some of the stuff behind me I've made. So I'll do some like work in progress on projects I'm doing. I've been doing a lot of 1/6 collecting the last couple years again, unfortunately, for my wallet because it's just getting out of hand now. Um, so yeah, I like to just post, whatever kind of little fun things excite me in Star Wars collecting. And then I also do Friday night Spice Runners Lounge with a bunch of our friends in the community, and just talk news and gossip and whatever, have guests on sometimes. So yeah, just hanging out.
It is pretty cool. I love watching you guys when I can.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I've been working like the past few Fridays, so it's been
Mhm.
tough, but I do enjoy watching you guys and have a drink and try to keep up with some of the words and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
right. Yeah,
It is a good time. You guys always have good combos.
thank you. Yeah, when we first started, I used to drink. I'd have like a beer or something, and then I'm like, I can't even. So now I drink seltzers when we get on.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta keep it light sometimes. I don't think I
Yeah.
can do the hard liquor with it because those words kind of pop up a little frequently sometimes.
Yeah,
So,
some of the
but
guys do, and then they're mumbling by the halfway through mark. So,
yeah, but that's what keeps it fun.
oh yeah.
Are there any projects that you're kind of working on right now? I've noticed you have done some like DIY stuff. Looks like
Mhm.
Jedi Niner printed you something a couple days ago. Anything
Yes.
you got in the works?
Yeah, I'm working on a Leia Bush helmet that Janine had. She had the kit for it, and she sent it to me. She was nice enough to say, "Hey, you've been kicking ass with these other helmets. Do you want to do this?" So I brought that to my work today actually to start basing it out and stuff. It's one of my all-time like favorite Star Wars helmet designs. There's just something so cool about it. It's so Star Wars. So like I remember as a kid, I was like so surprised when it was Leia. I was like, "There's no way this weird thing is." I thought it was like their head. I didn't know it was a helmet. So yeah. So I'm super excited to finally have that in the collection.
Yeah, and I think it's even cooler when you can make it yourself rather than like purchase it. I feel like it gives it that
Mhm.
extra, like, kind of oomph to your collection
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. It is cool. Like I said, a lot of the stuff in here I've done myself to a degree, right? Like I painted this Vader helmet. I've made these guys behind me, so I
Wow.
can kind of add my own flair to it or set it how I want to fit the collection, which is nice. I'm sure we've all bought something that we're like, this will be cool, and then you get it and you go, shit, that doesn't fit how I thought, or it's bigger than I thought. So
Yeah.
definitely, definitely fun.
Mhm. How do you make the ones behind you? Because those seem like pretty decent. Like even the Grievous is pretty, like,
Yeah,
looks very detailed. I didn't realize that you made those when you sent me those pictures earlier.
yeah, yeah. The Grievous is a 3D kit from Galactic Armory. They're on Etsy and Instagram. A beautiful 3D kit. It's a lot of cleanup and work. Um, this is a 3D pieces and stuff, soft goods from Joel Hazy. He printed all that for me and sent me the pieces and cleaned it all up for at my work. And this was I used to do a Tusken Raider costume like cosplay. Um,
Oh,
back when I lived in Ohio, and it's too hot down here for it in Florida. So
yeah.
it was just in a bag. I had the helmet, and the rest of it was in a bag. I was like, I gotta display that, so I made a nice little bust, and there's a little sand base it's on. But that was a nice little kit I got 10 years ago, and just weathered it up and made it really cool.
Wow, I had no idea that you used to cosplay as a Tusken Raider. That is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I used to also be in the Mandalorian Mercs for like 6 years. I was there up in Ohio. Um,
Wow.
and that costume's long gone at this point, but yeah, I used to do all that stuff up in Ohio.
Gotcha. Would you ever consider, I know it's like pretty hot down in Florida, but is
Mhm.
there another cosplay you would consider like picking up for down here or
Oh
kind
man,
of left that in the past in
it's
Ohio?
it is tough because it is very hot. I actually wore my Mando at Celebration 6 down in Orlando, and it was miserable. Um, but I would love to do um, and I don't know enough yet because we haven't seen it. But in Andor, the season 2 preview, it's showing people with Star Wars armor without helmets on, and they have like snowtrooper chest armor or like regular chest, and it's just like a cool outfit without the helmet. And I think that is such a cool look. So I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to do a Andor whatever kind of trooper that is because it's pretty badass. So.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Are you excited based off the Andor trailer for season two
Oh
or
my god, yeah. Oh
oh,
yeah. I think it looks like it has they're gonna put exciting stuff in the preview, but it looks like it has a lot of action. Not that the last season didn't, but the first season or the beginning of the first season was kind of like a slow burn, like here's the heist we're gonna do, and then it finally kicks off, you know?
yeah.
Um, this looks like it might just be action, I hope.
It definitely seems a little bit faster paced, more action,
Hmm.
at least based off what they kind of showed us in the trailers, which is exciting because I think those were probably two of like the biggest complaints people had that Andor was like very slow, there wasn't a lot of
Hmm.
action, like it just didn't feel like Star Wars to some people, which I
Hmm.
get. We didn't have lightsabers, like it was very different,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
still enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite show,
Mhm.
but like I thought it was pretty good. So I'm very excited for it. I don't know how I feel about the 3 episodes like back to back each week though. I think that's
So
going to be a lot.
that is odd. It's an odd choice for them. Hopefully they do like, oh man, it sucks either way because like we're East Coast, right? So
Mhm.
they were doing it like 3 a.m. our time. It would debut in 12 midnight West Coast, which makes it tough because then I'd be getting up at like 4 a.m. to watch an hour episode before I get ready for work.
Yeah.
I can't do that with 3 episodes, and then you're gonna avoid spoilers all day. And then thank God I don't review episodes because you know the
Yeah.
people who do video blog that stuff are screwed because you got to watch 3 hours almost of episodes, go through, edit videos. Like, oh, it's gonna be a challenge for for that. But it's an odd choice. But I hey, whatever they want to do, I'm cool with it.
Have they released like the run times? I haven't really seen. I've seen like, they're going to do episode 1, 2, 3 and
Hmm.
then, kind of like
Right.
what the plan is, but not
Mhm.
really how long the episodes are going to be. But I think that's crazy because if they're like an hour each, that's like almost a movie every week.
A movie a week. Yeah, I assume if it's like last season, it'll be 45-ish minutes to an hour, somewhere in that realm. So
Hmm.
yeah, like you said, like you're looking at over 2 hours a week. It's an Andor movie a week you got to watch. So it's
Yeah.
cool. It's also tough if you're doing stuff with that. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. If I'm gonna do like
yeah, yeah.
separate videos or just do like a long one, but because they're each supposed to be like the 3 episodes are like an arc, and that's like a year, and
Hmm.
then we see like the 4 years leading up to Rogue One.
Road. Hmm.
But I don't know. I think it could be crazy though, because some of the times like Disney will pop out like a 25-minute episode in like
Hmm.
that would be doable, I feel like. But if they're like each an hour long, I think
Yeah,
that's gonna
yeah,
be a little tough. So we'll see if I end up reacting to it. I would
yeah,
like to, but I think it's gonna be a very daunting task. So
yeah. I
we'll
know
see.
some people I've talked to, like George Medina, the
Hmm.
Hyperdrive and stuff, and I know Tony does a lot of the
Yeah.
reactions, and it's like, man, if I saw that 3 episodes a week, I would have been sweating. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't do that.
um, I think it'll be very exciting. I am looking forward to it. But speaking of shows, what
Mhm.
is your favorite Star Wars show?
Ooh, favorite show they've put out. I r- it's not my favorite. I got an honorable mention. I loved Skeleton Crew. It was
Okay.
fun and just it was. How do you hate a show about kids running around? Right? It's like it's cheesy. Yeah, it's kids running around, and you go, oh, okay. I think the best show is Mando season 1 and season 2, but definitely Mandalorian. Um,
Okay.
it is. It's especially the first season is just so perfectly Star Wars feeling. Um, it gave us like there was a whole episode with Jawas like that we got this whole look into the Jawa sandcrawler moving around and it I know it brought a lot of people back. Scott says all the time he has always loved Star Wars, but that kind of pulled him back hardcore and he started collecting again. It brought people in who didn't like Star Wars. They liked Baby Yoda and they got pulled back, into it. So um, I think it had the biggest impact since Disney's, acquirement of it. So you gotta go Mando, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree. When I talked to Scott about it, I was like, honestly, you make a very good point because I feel like I've always loved Star Wars, and then it kind of like fell to the back burner because we didn't get a lot of
Mhm.
content and stuff like that. Then right before COVID, we got hit with Mando, and I was like, man, and it kind of drew me back in, started
Yeah.
collecting, and I think that happened for a lot of people. It really kind of reinvigorated everyone's love of Star Wars, and even brought in new fans, as you were saying,
Hmm.
because Baby Yoda is definitely a selling point that
Oh my
Disney, I
god,
feel
yeah.
like sometimes, a lot of times, takes advantage of.
Yes.
So
That's their
it's
cash
a little
cow now.
tough,
Yeah.
yeah. But it is. I did like Mando season one. The season two finale was like hands down crazy. Season three, I did struggle a little bit, so I'm interested to see where they're gonna go with the
With the
movie.
movie. Yeah, season 3, because again, I've watched the first 2 seasons. I don't know how many times. A lot. I have a video on my phone still, and I don't do reaction videos usually, but it was the finale, and I have a video, and I actually cried when it was Luke, right? Like I literally cried because it was just everything built up, right? And it's just like that's Star Wars. It's Luke Skywalker coming back, this epicness, and it's just you couldn't believe it. Season 3 I watched when it debuted. I haven't watched it since. It was more like the Bo-Katan story. Um, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as the first two. It wasn't as strong, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So
it definitely. I mean, I didn't mind because it is the Mandalorian. It's not like Din Djarin, so
yeah,
it's I
exactly.
kind of understood, but I just feel like he was such a prominent character in season one and two. So then to transfer the realm to kind of like Bo
Hmm.
Katan and her story for season three, I was like, okay, it makes sense. Like I get it. It's not like it is about the Mandalorians. She is
Hmm.
Mandalorian, so it is what it is. But I just some of the things, like especially the dark saber, I think that really kind of gets to me, and I was like, oh, this
Hmm.
is like it's this world renowned like galaxy shattering object and weapon, and it just cracks in half. Like
Yeah, yeah.
so, some of the stuff in season three, I haven't watched it since, but
Hmm.
season one and two are definitely very like top tier shows.
Oh
So
my god,
love
yeah.
it.
Just peak Star Wars. It's like they came back with like they had time to really write and think of what they were going to do and then came out with that and it was like, oh wow, you thought about this before you put it out. Crazy how that worked.
Yeah, and the end result after that is quite amazing.
Hmm.
So, but we'll see. And then you kind of mentioned the Bausch helmet and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Is Return of the Jedi your favorite movie?
As a kid it was 'cause I love the Ewoks and Jabba's palace is super cool. Throne room scene at the end is one of the best scenes in all of that might be my best my favorite scene in all of Star Wars is that whole end throne room duel and dialogue.
Okay.
But Empire Strikes Back is my all-time favorite, I think,
Oh,
because
okay.
Hoth is like everything about Hoth. Tauntauns are my favorite creature. AT-ATs are awesome. Snow speeders are my favorite vehicle. Just everything about Empire Strikes Back is my like goat of everything else. Like this is cool. That's slightly cooler. Like anything. And Yoda shows up. Oh, I love Yoda.
Gotcha. Well, I see you have like an Attack of the Clones shirt on, so I was like, I wonder if
Yes.
he likes Attack of the Clones. But I know that's not everyone's favorite movie, but
I
I don't mind it. So
I love Attack of the Clones. Django people. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it, but I think Django's armor is so much cooler than Boba. I love Django Fett. I have the hot toy with it. His shiny armor is so cool. Um, I like the prequels. I grew up with the prequels as much as the originals. So because I was like 10 when Episode 1 came out, so it was like perfect for me. It was just a continuous story. I didn't wait like 15 years and get all
yeah.
grown up on it. I was 10, so I was pumped on Jar Jar and that kind of stuff.
I love Jar Jar.
Hmm.
People hate on him all the time. He's probably one of the reasons that I actually like fell in love with Star Wars when I was
Hmm.
younger. I just thought he was so comical. Like he just made me laugh. Like I really enjoyed watching his character,
Hmm.
and I think that's what kind of propelled me to keep with watching it. But
Hmm.
I know a lot of people don't like him. They think he's a little too goofy, but I honestly loved him. I thought he was
Oh,
great.
he is. I really hope they release the hot toy of him because it looks so good in the prototype.
It
Um,
does.
and if you told 10-year-old me I would buy like a $300 Jar Jar figure, I'd be like, that's crazy, but whatever.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff I have right now, I would have never thought I would have had younger because
Yeah.
I kind of just watched it for fun, and now I'm like, all right,
Oh, here we
we
go.
might, or might not have a problem, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Yeah,
Especially when you start collecting Funko, that is a deep, deep rabbit hole.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's what I kind of like started with, and now I've kind of slowed down a little bit, and I'm really
Yeah.
trying to stay away from the statues. But a lot of the stuff that they're coming out with recently has been super impressive. Like I feel like Hot
Mhm.
Toys is like banger after banger. Like they're not slowing down. So I
Mm-mm.
feel like Sideshow is kind of top tier right now, and there's a lot of stuff I am considering. So
Mhm.
trying my best to stay away, but it's very
It's
hard.
tough. It's very tough.
And the helmets too. I really because I finally like set my 3D printer back up, and I was like,
Mhm.
maybe I should get into making helmets. And I was like, oh, that's another slippery slope.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yes. Do it.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. And I do see maybe it's a year left, but it looks like on the right you have Anakin's pod racer helmet, Darth Vader. Is Darth Vader slash Anakin Skywalker your favorite character?
Yes.
Perhaps. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, Vader. I mean, when Vader, popped in, I know a lot of people's favorite scene is the Tantive and Vader coming in, and I that I still remember seeing it, and I was like, I don't want to say scared, but I was like taken aback by him coming through, and it's just this big black figure with the white troopers. And I'm like, holy crap, who is that? Like, wow, that's on the white walls. I mean, it was just perfect. He's so cool. And then like we get the prequels with Hayden, the coolest dude in the world, and just makes it even better. And then like Clone Wars really expands the character, and yeah, I mean Vader and Anakin are I mean it's their it's his story, so I'd say he's the best.
I agree. I was more privy to the prequels growing up. That was kind
Mhm.
of just like the era I was born into. So I
Mhm.
always loved Anakin, and then I watched the original trilogy because my dad was like, we gotta watch all of it. Like you gotta
Yeah, yeah.
see the beginnings." And I was like, "Oh," but just learning about his arc like as a character, like he's so dynamic. Like I don't know a
Mhm.
character that has that much that goes into it. Like you see him from the beginning, kind of what makes him turn and consider
Mhm.
turning. You see him turn, you see him as this terrible villain, then he kind of like circles back a little bit and he kind of realizes, and then again in Ahsoka we see him and he's kind of like a force ghost. Like he just has such a dynamic, like, just character progression, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
by far he's one of the best characters in
Oh
all of
yeah.
Star Wars. So he's definitely a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm. He's just so cool. I mean, people who don't know Star Wars know that. Like
But
my wife doesn't care about Star Wars at all, but she knows Darth Vader, right? Like she comes
yeah,
in and she could, if I said name something in here, she'd go, "Well, that's Darth Vader, obviously," because it's like he's just ingrained in pop culture now, you know.
yeah,
So.
he's definitely a very prominent. I think anyone, yeah, you're right. People that don't like Star Wars, don't know Star Wars, they still know Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but he's great. Love him. Okay. Well, what was your kind of introduction to Star Wars? And then we'll take a look at your collection.
Yeah, I remember watching Star Wars when I was like 6. My it was on like TV, but my grandma got me the VHSs, which I still have actually. The
Oh wow.
VHS box set, right? And these just got played nonstop. I mean, just over and over and rewind and finish and rewind. So that's what got me into it back in like, when I was 6. So that would have been like 95 or so, which was, I think, the perfect time to be a kid getting into Star Wars, because that was the boom again of like Power of the Force figures. They started putting out, toys again for Star Wars, so they didn't have that for however many years, really distributing. So it was like I got fresh toys, I got fresh, releases, because they put the special editions in theaters. I got to go see those in theaters. Um, so yeah, it's really been a part of my life for a long time, like as long as I can remember, really. So that's why this is where I've become at 35, is this, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so cool. It's really, and the friends I had as a kid, and then friends, in high school that like Star Wars, and now friends as adults, and you go to cons. It's just like always been a constant, So it's just been really cool, really cool.
It has. I didn't really remember having. I feel like Star Wars was around and people like acknowledged it, but I don't
Mhm,
feel like I had a lot of friends that would like kind of talk about it or like build Legos
mhm,
with me or stuff like that. But I feel like now as an adult, I've been able to like meet people through doing this, and I feel
mhm,
like I've made lifelong friends through it who love Star Wars. So
mhm.
it's always cool that I can like talk to them about it. I could text them and be like, "What did you think of the episode? What do you think about
Yeah,
this?"
yeah.
Like all the news, like we just could talk and we connect. And even though I've sometimes never met them in person, like when I do finally see them at cons, it's like we never missed a beat. Like we're
Mhm.
just buddies, even though it's the first time we've ever met. So
Yeah.
I think that that's always the coolest part of like doing this all and kind of just being connected by Star Wars.
Yeah, the community is just so big, and for the most part, everyone's really down to earth and cool. And like you said, you meet people. I mean, I've been on Spice Runners for 3 years with those guys. I met Scott at MegaCon. After 3 years on a show with him, I finally met him in person. Um, and it was just normal, It wasn't like
Yeah.
it was just, it's cool. That Star Wars can do that,
So
or
this
any
was your
country.
first time meeting Scott. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, yeah. First time meeting Scott. That was only the second time I met Joel and Jeff in person. Because Dubak and Eben are in Orlando, so I
Mhm.
see them a little more often. But yes, Joel's over on the West Coast. Scott's in the West Coast. So, um, 3 years in the making to get us all together finally. So
Oh,
yeah,
that
that
is
was pretty
cool.
cool.
That makes
Yeah,
it
that
even
was
more
really
special. I didn't realize that that was like really kind of the first like oorah for you guys. Because I know Eben and Duvak, they're kind of like around in Florida, so you see them
cool.
at the cons and stuff. I know like Joel and Jeff are a little bit further away. I knew Scott was in on the West Coast, so I didn't realize that though. So that makes it even more special. Wow,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
that was
cool.
awesome.
That is fun. Okay, well, you did send me some pictures of your collection.
Mhm.
And speaking of MegaCon, you got to meet the man, the myth, the legend,
Mhm.
Robert Timothy Smith, our buddy Neil.
Oh, I love Neil. What a cool character. I love, like, most people like creatures, right? Is like Star Wars.
Hmm.
And he pops on the scene, and we just have this adorable little character. Like, it's so good. And then what's funny is his name is Robert Timothy Smith, and my name is Jason Timothy Smith. And
Oh,
I was like, oh my god, it was meant to be. And I actually told him at the con, I was like, my buddy made you this Neil doll. I said, but what's even cooler is my name's Jason Timothy Smith. We're like supposed to be like homies. And he laughed. His dad thought it was funny and stuff. Um, he was a super sweet kid, obviously. Um, but that was really, it was cool to get a photo with him after Joel presented him the doll, so I could get a photo with him with one of my good friends' creations. So
yeah. He does seem like a sweet kid, and I feel like I knew from the second I watched the trailer that Neil was going to be like the next Grogu as far as like
hmm
cute creatures goes.
hmm
So I think he did a great job. And then now they're kind of showing some like behind the scenes photos of like him in the costume with all the stuff, and I
hmm
was like, honestly, that's pretty cool. And he did kind of, because I went to the Skeleton Crew panel the next day, and
hmm
he brought the doll with him and like
oh, that's
sat
so
it right
cool.
in front of him. And I sent Joel a picture of it. I was like, he brought your
That is,
creation to like the con. He was like, or the
yeah,
panel. He was like, thank you for sharing, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So
that
he
is
loved
so
that
cool.
thing.
I mean, these kids, yeah, they're shit. I wish I was 10 years old and I was in Star Wars. That would have been awesome. But
I would have loved to have done that. I think that would be cool. When hearing them talk about it, like they just have such a love for it, and
yeah,
it was really cool getting to hear them kind of talk about their experience, like filming, and then still having to do homework, like on the
yeah,
bridge
yeah,
and stuff like that. And I was like, that's just so cool.
yeah.
Like,
What a life,
yeah.
badass.
But I think these were all at MegaCon because the two on the left were
Mhm.
last year, right?
Yeah, those were last year's, which was crazy because we had. Were you there last year?
I
I might.
was.
So if you remember, they had like Artist Alley all the way over here, and then photos in the middle, and then like Tom Hiddleston and Hayden
Hayden.
and Ewan were on the far end. So it's like, so me and Evan had our photo op with Ewan and Hayden, and then we had to quickly run back to Tamara and get that photo in the middle. So we're like running through the con trying to get each of them done in our time slot. But I I don't even know like how the photo with Ewan and Hayden happened, in the sense of I know how it happened because they came and I said, Evan, do you want to go in on this and do this? But the fact that it actually happened and like is a real event that I met them like that, and it was like whatever 10 seconds with them. Um, that's the coolest thing that's happened to me in Star Wars, was being between those two. Because Empire Strikes Back is my all-time favorite, but Revenge of the Sith is like my childhood. Uh, you know, growing up, and the two of them together, and it's like there couldn't be a cooler two people for Star Wars for me, but those two. So it's like a surreal thing, and we walked up and Evan's like, "Oh, you gonna cry?" Because we were like next in line. I'm like, "I'm about to, dude. I think I might. Like, this is awesome." Um, and they were just so nice and cool, and um, yeah, that was cool. That's one of my favorite things that's ever happened in Star Wars.
I totally get it. I did cry. I did do I didn't do the duel, and I kind
Mhm,
of wish that I did. But I think it's only that was either like the second or third time that they've done it, and they haven't done it since, I
mhm.
think. I'm
It
pretty
was
sure. Tony would
awesome.
know because he's best friends with Hayden.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was definitely like a very rare thing. But I did Hayden, and I 100% did cry. I like walked out of there, like my eyes were watering, and I was like,
hmm
wow, that was like just crazy. Like they are so present and engaged
hmm
with you for like, the second or minute that you're kind of like with them,
hmm
and it was honestly quite surreal, and I'm very excited to meet him at Celebration. I think
Oh,
that'll
that's
be.
so cool.
I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to it. I was like, I got to do it again. Like
you have to.
yeah.
Any chance you get, really. I met him the MegaCon before this year, just Hayden,
Hmm.
um, and not that it was easier the second time, but like that first time, it's Hayden, and he just is so cool and so nice. I had a Vader helmet with me, like this one, and I was like, "Do you mind holding this?" He goes, "Yeah, sure, sure." Like he didn't like just. so nice. I had gotten married like a few months prior to that, and I was like, and I told him, I was like, I just got married a few months ago, and this might be a cooler day than that. And he laughed, and I was like, I'm kind of serious, but um, yeah, it's Hayden. I mean, he's the chosen one. You gotta, if you can meet him, whether it's an autograph, a photo. Um,
Yeah.
I'm glad he's getting like the love that that character deserves.
I say that all the time because I feel like as like a prequel, like all the prequel babies loved Hayden. They
Hmm.
liked Jar Jar, like all these characters, like even just young Anakin as well, like Jake Lloyd.
Hmm.
Now that we're older, they're finally getting the appreciation that we're able to
Hmm.
like show them by doing these cons and
Hmm.
spending our adult money on them, which I don't mind at all. But it is nice to see that like they appreciate it and they're doing cons and things like that more
Hmm.
frequently. So I really do love it. I'm kind of shocked Ewan is not going to Celebration this year, considering it's the 20th anniversary.
Yeah,
Maybe he'll make like a surprise appearance.
yeah, they'll
Who
announce it
knows?
like
Yeah,
the week. I mean, MegaCon started announcing stuff like the week prior to the convention, which is tough if
yeah,
you're trying to budget. But I mean, I got to meet Neil, so it worked out.
yeah. No, that is cool. And you also it looks like met Ming Na Wen and Tim. How
Hmm.
were they? I haven't met either of them yet.
They're really cool. I first time meeting her, she was really sweet. It was funny because they were getting toward the end of the photo shoot because again we had to run over, and so
Mhm.
the two of them like she was like talking to him and they were joking around about something, and then like they went, oh, like we had people still that and like, oh, sorry, and she's hugging Evan there, um and we're doing the tough pose. They were nice. Tamura I had met at Celebration 6 back in 2012 also, um, and he was super sweet then too, just like down to earth guy. I mean, I wouldn't mess with him. Like he's I don't know how old. I think he's like 60s now, maybe. I mean, he'd beat my ass. Like him standing next to him, I'm like, dude, you beat me up. Yeah, look at him. He's tough. Like I try to look tough next to him, he'd still beat my ass. So, um,
Yeah.
they were cool though. They were definitely fun and very nice.
They seem to have good chemistry, especially with
Hmm.
oh my god, who's the young Daniel? Is it Daniel Logan?
Yeah, Daniel
I
Logan.
think like
Yeah,
all
young
three of
Boba.
them, I feel like together have such good chemistry because I did get
Hmm.
to go to their panel. I didn't do like a photo or auto because I was kind of over it. But I
Hmm.
went to the panel and they had just had such good chemistry. Like they really just liked being in each other's presence, I
Yeah.
guess, and like just cracking jokes. Like it kind of just felt like we were all hanging out, even though we were just like watching their panel. It was
Hmm.
pretty cool.
And it's cool. And like Fennec Shan, what a cool like character to be introduced to, and then you find out like, oh, you are also Mulan. Like you've also done stuff in my childhood I didn't realize, and then full circle. That's pretty cool.
And she also was like in Agents of Shield and stuff. That's
Yeah,
how I kind of like initially knew her. And then
yeah,
I
that's
was putting
right.
it together that she was like Fennec Shan. I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I do really like her as an actor, and I think like kind
Hmm.
of together they have great chemistry. So
Yeah, I hope they
we'll
show
see
up in
if
the.
they reprise.
I want them to show up in the Mando show at some point. That'd be so cool.
I would hope so. I think it would be a miss if they didn't, but
Hmm. Definitely.
who knows? Who knows? And then we kind of see the Grievous head behind you. Got some more
Hmm.
stuff over there. It kind of looks like you got a Lars signature, Grand Admiral Thrawn.
That is actually a Timothy Zahn autograph
Oh,
with
okay.
that, and I want to get. I'd love to get a Lars to go with that, in the box with it, but he hasn't done conventions near me at all. I know he's like popped up in the UK. Um, is he gonna be at Celebration? No. Okay, thank God, because I'd be jealous. Yeah, I'd love to meet him. Thrawn's one of the coolest characters. In the books, he's awesome, but like in Rebels, I fell in love with him from Rebels. And so I love him in Ahsoka, and I'm glad that he did the voice, in the cartoon, and then got to play him live action. That just makes it like all make sense. So.
It does. That's why I saw it and I was like, because I did also get introduced to him, like
Mhm.
kind of via Rebels, and I was like, man, like he doesn't have like force abilities. Like he doesn't really have
Mhm.
any of the other stuff that makes like Palpatine or Vader like badass villains, but
Mhm.
he's just very methodical and he kind of really picked up on like
Intimidating.
some of the cultural pieces and I was like, dude,
Mhm.
he's such a cool villain. So I
Yeah.
saw you had that and I was like, is I that would be crazy if that was a Lars signature because I feel
Yeah.
like he does not do cons like frequently,
Oh.
at least like in the United States. And I feel like
Mhm.
even when he does them, like kind of worldwide, it's very few and far between. And I was like, damn, if he has a Lars
Yeah.
signature, like that would be crazy.
I
But Timothy
wish.
Zahn is great as well. So
Yeah.
he's really
Yeah, the
cool.
man himself. But yeah, Lars is on the list, and Mads. If I could get both brothers, that'd be awesome.
That yeah, I would love to see him come to like a con or like even a celebration because I don't think he's done
Yeah,
one.
maybe
So
maybe the next one that hopefully is in Orlando. I hope they say. Ugh,
fingers crossed. At
praying.
least I think it's at least going to be in the United States. I think Tony was kind of guessing it might be Chicago, but I
Mhm.
don't know. Orlando's like are in our backyard, so I
I
would
know.
love to do that. Like that would
Oh,
be so doable.
so
But
easy.
if it was Chicago or anywhere else, I would think I would still go if it was in the
Mhm.
United States, but Orlando would just be like a bank shot, I feel like.
Perfect. Yeah, East Coast though. I'd make the trip any East Coast state.
Yeah.
I guess if I had to.
hmm did you make that B1 like battle droid head?
That is actually from Rex Millennium Workshop.
Oh,
He made me that. Yeah, he posted that he had made one for someone, and I think he had posted in Spice Runners, and I think just started following him on Instagram. This was maybe a year ago, 2 years ago now. And he was just kind of getting into it at that level, and I was like, man, I messaged him while we were doing the show, and I was like, I need one of these heads, and can you do like a a different paint job on it. I love the like Geonosian look, and with the yellow to make it like the whatever the squad leader or whatever they are, but the yellow with the like maroon. So he did that, and it is phenomenal. It's so cool. The detail in it, I love it.
yeah, it does look really cool. I love the B1 battle droid. I remember when I
Mhm.
did an episode with him, we kind of like looked at it, but I didn't even put like two and two together that that
Mhm.
might have been like one of his creations. So
Yeah, he knocked it out of the park. He is so good at it, and it's a good price, and it's a if you like B1s, it's awesome. I mean, it's life size, so it's really cool.
that is pretty cool. Do you
Yeah.
have any life size like figures or anything like that, or not?
Um,
Not yet.
I used to have here was a life size Vader, like the full Vader costume, on a mannequin that I built to the height of Prouse, which is like 6'8" or 6'7", in the suit. So he was right here. And then I sold that a few months ago because I wanted to do like a helmet evolution display instead. So I was like, I want a full Vader. The goal is next house have enough space I could do a full Vader again because I mean he's just so cool. So,
He is. That is
but
cool. I
yeah,
didn't. That is pretty cool. Are those all? So, do you have all of the helmets for like Anakin to Vader, or is there another one
yeah.
somewhere?
I have so yeah. This is the EFX Vader,
hmm
so a New Hope, and then the pod racing helmet, Force Awakens, and then I made one of the Kenobi Vader helmet. See if I can adjust my camera.
Like
So
the
where,
split.
yeah, the split helmet there. So I made that one. I'd like to get a display that's him in each cycle from each movie. So like an Empire helmet, a Return of the Jedi helmet, a Rebel style. Um, Again, that's when I get a house with more space. I'd like to do that, like kind of the through the years evolution of all Vader helmets, because um, it's just he's so cool. This helmet's so cool. I love it.
It is. And I like the different styles that they kind of like go through, but I do really
Hmm.
like the Rebels helmet. Like I
Oh,
like
it's
how
so
they kind of
cool.
did that. I thought that that was a really cool one. Like out of all of them, I definitely like that one. Probably one of the best in my opinion.
Hmm. And it's kind of like a concept Macquarie style because it has
Yeah.
that like tight sleekness. I've seen like two. props that people have made of like a rebel style. I don't know who, I don't remember anymore, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. But again, luckily I know like Rex could knock it out. Joel, so fingers crossed.
Luckily,
Yes.
we have some good people who can make some really good,
Mm-hmm.
high quality products. Because Droll and
Oh,
Rex are phenomenal at the stuff that they can create and make.
so
It
good.
is amazing.
And they don't sleep. They just like do it. They'll just send messages of I'm starting this, and then the morning I finish this. I'm like,
Yeah.
I slept for 8 hours. How the hell did you do this? This is awesome. So
And especially with it being so high quality too. Like, I mean, for
mhm.
8 hours, I could probably throw something together. What they can do in
Yes,
8 hours is
is
like
wild.
would take me probably like months. So
Hmm.
it's crazy what they can do. But that is pretty cool. And
Yeah,
I think I noticed you had like his hand by that bottom helmet, like the robotic hand.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
did you like I haven't seen that before.
So I hadn't either, and then a guy I had seen someone else's display. And I said, "Where'd you get this? This is awesome. This is actually. I'll try and find the link for it and send it to you. It's like a kid's science experiment kit that they made that like Hasbro or someone made in like 2012. So it was attached to it had like a base and it was attached, and when you pull the like strings, it would like bend the fingers. So you built this kind of from pieces, scratch, and it bend the fingers. But if you just don't attach it to that piece, right, you got a pretty good size hand
Yeah.
that displays really well. So it happened to be like a Hasbro Kids Science experiment thing that like
Hmm.
why didn't they market this? You guys could have sold a ton of
Yeah.
these.
Yeah.
So I'd love for someone to make like a good quality, like a good print of this. Like if Rex or someone could do a good print of this with a nice, real good paint job, oh, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would look awesome because I always loved his like robotic hand.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's was like Luke's was okay, but I always thought Anakin's was like top tier.
Oh
So
yeah, it was so much cooler.
I
It
might
made
just
me
be
like want to have
biased,
one.
but but all right. And then you definitely have a lot of art, and I know you picked up some art while you were at
Mm-hmm.
Celebration,
Mm-hmm.
but I like it. Is that the Han Solo and Carbonite? Is that an art piece, or is that like actually coming out of the wall?
That's an actual 3D panel um,
Oh,
that we had. I worked somewhere and we had a mold from a project we had done from a company that starts with a D, and we had extra materials, and we casted some up. So that's just the front panel. I'd love one day to make it actually, with the lights on the side and everything.
mhm.
But that's on my door, so I like hold his hand if I want to open the the door. So that's yeah, that guy's cool.
Who someone else had that. Oh my gosh. I think Sean
Sean
Solo?
Solo, yeah, yeah. So Sean Solo did
Sean?
that after he
Yeah.
saw mine. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do that." I said, "Dude, do it.
Mm.
If you can figure out how to get it on there, good." I just kind of like drilled it to the tops, like reinforced it.
Mhm.
He has that, and then Jeff has a print, a Michelle Nooney life size print on his door. So I think it's becoming like a trend in our friend
That's
group of
yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Interesting. I
Um,
didn't know that you kind of like sparked that because I when I interviewed Sean, I was like, "What is behind you?" He was like, "Oh, it's just my door," and I was like,
mm,
"That's crazy," but that's pretty
yeah,
cool that you kind of inspired that. So
yeah, finally, because that dude inspired me with so much that it's cool to like see other people's stuff. But
it
um,
is. It is. I do enjoy looking at that stuff, and I love that celebration poster. I think it's so cool.
oh, and that's
5, right?
one of my favorites. Yeah, from Five. That was in 2010. So it was 30 years of Empire. So it was all Empire themed that year, and this was just the poster. And it's just badass Boba Fett Celebration 5. That's one I don't think I know I could probably buy it again, but like that's the one I got rolled up, flew back with me, in 2010. So it's so cool. And like the next year, Celebration 6 was like Party of the Galaxy. So the poster was like a cheesy Photoshop, like everyone with like confetti. It wasn't cool. Like this is a cool poster. So.
That is a cool one. I do like that. And I do like a lot of the art that they have kind of come out so far for
Mhm.
this year's celebration, but I haven't seen anything that's like Star Wars Celebration. I don't
Mhm.
even know what number this is, honestly, but
Uh,
maybe they'll do it. I don't
I
who
don't know.
knows. But I do like that poster a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And then I have so much artwork. I love artwork. I don't have much space for it anymore, so I keep buying it, and then like put stuff on the ground or something. But and then the two next to it, the Return of the Jedi and Empire, are the Matt Ferguson ones that he did, and those are actually switched around. And now I have my Episode 1 where that Return of the
Mm,
Jedi is, and
gotcha.
he did a Rogue One print as well. Um,
Oh,
in this size and that same style, and it has Krennic in the front of it's um
hmm,
he his stuff's blowing up, but his detail and work is just so cool, and like the concept and everything. um I'm hoping he does like a New Hope at some point, and Attack of the Clones would be cool. I know he's coming out with
yeah.
the Episode 3, I think right in May 4th time. I think that goes on sale with Bottleneck, um, which is gonna be awesome. So we just need those like other two random ones, and then give me some sequel posters too. I'd love a Force Awakens one by him. That'd be cool too.
He does have some good posters. I do like his stuff, especially that Return of the Jedi one, because I think that's what they marketed when it went back to theaters
Uh
like two
huh.
years ago.
Yeah,
So
and same with the Empire one back in 2021. I think it was supposed to be 20, but COVID had happened. So this was all I bought that one in 2020, was the Empire Strikes Back one. That was an original release he did, and that was like their big marketing poster for that too. So good for him, because they're just the little details when you get up close to them are really cool.
yeah, he does some great work.
Hmm.
How do you so do you have like a binder or something? Like what do you do with the artwork that you don't or you can't like put up on the walls? Because I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah. I know some people have giant like portfolio binders, right? Like think
Mhm.
you have to put a 24 by 36. That's a big binder
Right.
to put in. So luckily I don't have any that big. I do have some like 8 by 10 autographs or something that don't fit. So those like you can get like an art binder that might be like like a 2 foot by 3 foot, or something, 3 foot by 1 foot. Um, a nice art binder with sleeves, and you can kind of keep stuff in that. I have a closet in here that actually behind those posters there is a closet. So those are like flags back on there, so it'll slide behind there, and it's just Hot Toys boxes, and there's room for some posters that are in a tube and stuff that I separate with like paper, and roll them and put them in the tubes, but um, I try and display as much as I can. I have some in like the bedroom I was able to to
Oh,
expand into, because I said I'm out of room. I mean it's floor to ceiling of stuff. So.
yeah. Gotta get creative sometimes with how
Hmm.
you display and make room for things, but at some point, space does become limited,
Space,
unfortunately.
yeah,
So
space always catches up with us.
there's never a room big enough, unfortunately.
Never, there never will be.
No. And then I do really like how you display the Hot Toys, like with a helmet. It doesn't look like those are full size helmets, though, or are
um,
they?
so those ones, yes. So these are full size helmets. The
Oh,
the actual the stormtrooper and the FN 287. Those are the Black Series helmets that they did.
oh,
So these are actually displayed with quarter scale statues. Um, so
okay.
the in this photo, the Phase One clone trooper is a sideshow quarter scale they had done. All the other ones are customs that I made with figures I'd cut up and repaint and resculpt stuff. And then like there's a Cody down there. That's all stuff I had Joel print, and then I remodified a statue and remade that. So um, I try and do like the quarter scale with the matching like helmet for the character.
Gotcha. Okay, that's why I was like, if those are hot toys, there's no way
Yeah.
that those are like big helmets, but that would make sense if it's quarter scale. Okay, that makes more
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah,
That's
those are like
cool.
18-inch tall figures, I think, about
Yeah.
18.
Okay. Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, I got the idea actually because not with the figures, but with the lighting and the bestas was I was following Gabe Star Wars, replicas. Um, Back in like 2020, I was just following him on Instagram. We weren't friends yet,
Hmm.
and I was like, "How his collection is so clean." When I get a bigger place, and then I got a bigger place, and I went, "What did he do?" And in one of his pages, he said, "I use best IKEA. Here's the lighting I use," and I'm like, "Oh, that's it." And then I kind of did my own twist with the statue. So I gotta give him credit for the setup idea, but it's nice. I like to kind of have that museum look to it.
It does. It looks super clean.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that look. I always like when there's like a figure and then like a helmet or like kind of just have like the figures things there, but it's not too cramped and
Hmm.
there's lighting. I love lighting, so I think it looks super clean. And I am a huge fan of how Gabe displays his stuff, so kind of makes sense why I like this so much
Yeah.
then.
Oh, he's the original goat of all of it, in my opinion. With bringing it to the masses like that,
Yeah,
he's cool.
he does some creative stuff. And how did you come across that Spice Runners Lounge
Oh, the
sign?
lights.
Yeah.
Um, we that I believe is from Brett, who was on Rogue Five Cantina with Janine and
Oh,
stuff. He had printed like laser printed stuff, and he had made us these lights. So they sit on like a little light pod, and you can change the colors and stuff. Really cool. A fun little like subtle thing in the collection. So
that is cool. I would love to have like a Beyond Tatooine one. So I don't
yeah,
know. Maybe reach out to Brent and see what's up.
yeah. I'll send you his way, or you talk to him, and
Yeah,
he whipped it out pretty quick. It showed up. Evan's like, "Oh, I ordered that like a week ago, not even," and it showed up. So yeah,
interesting. I'll have to reach out to him then because that's pretty. I was like, wow, I like that a lot. I
yeah, yeah.
would love to have something like kind of right here, but we'll see. All right, cool beans. And then that also looks like that's right behind you.
Hmm.
I think that piece on the bottom left, that's like kind of newer, isn't it? That helmet droid.
Yeah, the CZ. Yeah, that is this guy. Yeah, let's see if I can grab him. He's a CZ droid. So this was he's a creepy droid. I always thought he was so creepy as a kid. But I had painted up a few helmets for Jeff Sage, Star Wars Addict 77, and he got this guy in like the deal that he was getting. He's like, "Hey, if you paint up these helmets for me or these masks, why don't you keep the CZ and paint him up for yourself?" But I was like, "Well, I'm not going to say no to that." So yeah, I got this guy. He's My wife
He
hates this
is
one, but
he is funky looking, but it's a very unique droid. It almost like looks like a concept droid
yeah,
almost. Like the concept C3PO, but like a little bit more creepy.
yeah, right, yeah.
A little bit.
But yeah, he's
And I
newer.
yeah, yeah. But I love the art on the right. Like
Oh
the
yes,
where did you get those? Those are so cool.
those I believe I think I got those on maybe Acme Archives or Dark Ink. Um, I'll have to look and I'll send you the link because I know the artist is it's slipping my mind right now, but I know he still had a set or a few sets of the series, and they did some that were just the photo, and if you look, there's kind of a trim, and it says
Hmm.
Star Wars, and it'll have a kind of a dialogue between characters in that scene. lightly in there. So that I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Those.
I saw those and I was like, man, those are like really cool, especially the Duel on Mustafar one at the bottom. I was
Mhm.
like, that looks like it's literally coming off like the
The
page. Like it looks
movie,
like it
yeah.
came like yeah, it looks amazing. So
Yeah, the sabers look like they're like lit up in the photo, but that's just his artwork. I'll have to find the name and send it to you, but those are
yeah,
really
let me know.
cool.
I would love to look at his stuff. I've been getting into art lately, which is
Hmm.
like crazy because I don't know how to display it all,
Hmm.
but I just love like the art pieces. Like I think some of the stuff that these artists are able to like create and do that like
Hmm.
signifies and represents like some of your favorite scenes and characters. Like
Exactly.
something about it is just special and I feel like I've really kind of leaned towards collecting the art and stuff. Like at
Hmm.
MegaCon I really only picked up art.
Hmm.
So I was like, I don't know, but I got to figure out like how to display it. But art has definitely become like an interest of mine recently. So
Oh,
that's pretty
it's phenomenal. There's just so much out there for Star Wars, obviously.
yeah.
Um, oh, I recommend
Recommend it, but it's hard to display it all.
it. Yes.
And then I think this is the last
Oh,
few pictures that you sent me, but it looks like these are a lot of your hot toys.
yes, yes. I'm addicted to hot toys and sideshow right now. It's just man, I love them. It's such a great scale, um, especially with like what hot toys can pull off these days with sculpts, head sculpts, and with the quality of the fabrics or just the details. It's so good. It's terrible because they do get expensive, but yeah, I had done a few. I had a few hot toys back in like 2019. I maybe had like 10, and then I sold it all. I sold all of them um, uh, off. I got rid of all of them, and I always regretted it. I was like, I gotta get back into it when I'm more settled in life and um, I can display them good. So then I got a few, and now I had to limit myself. I try and just do Clone Wars era. If it's going to be a new figure that's coming out, and it's going to be normal retail price, I try and stick with just Clone Wars. I will, go out of that if it's trading or if it's a good deal. I actually bought a Phasma today because she was really good deal, and I wanted her to pair with my Finn that I have. Because I have a Force Awakens set going, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's 1/6 scale is great, and there's people that have way more than I do, which is amazing. Like Joel, I mean, you've seen Joel. Joel has a room that's just floor to ceiling, 1/6 scale Star Wars and Star Trek. He just has everything. It's insane. So, um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I love this. This is one of my favorite things is organizing this setup and display.
And it's these are the ones that you can like pose too, right?
Yeah, fully posable. You can move. Some of them have different, like the Mace Windu. You could display. I have him with his Clone Wars gauntlets on, but you could display him with like his robes, like in the movies. One of my favorite ones is the bottom right corner is the Spider Mall from Clone Wars,
Mhm.
and that's a Joel Hazy custom that he did. Um, so he took a Darth Maul hot toy and cut it in half and sculpted these legs, these spider legs that can move, and um, it's just wild because no one else has that Spider Mall, which is super cool. Um,
Yeah, that is crazy. I was like looking at it, I was like, I don't know that Hot Toys has actually made that, but not that I am like know every hot toy that's been made, but I was like, that's a
yeah,
very unique hot toy. Like I didn't even put two and two together that that might have been a custom, so that's even cooler.
yeah, yeah. He does stuff they're afraid to do, which is cool because then you can get you know one-off characters like that are
He
unique.
definitely pushes boundaries. I think I'm surprised that he doesn't make his own hot toys like from scratch.
Oh, he does
He
kit
could.
bashing like crazy, and I have a few customs that like I've made a few custom clones. myself, like the waxer and boil at the bottom. I bought kits and painted those, and I just did a Cad Bane in disguise
Mm-hmm.
custom. Um, but it's all because he's a custom fiend. Spud's Customs, Tyler Berry. He is a Clone Wars. I mean, he makes this look like child's play. He has a room of just clones, and they're most of them are customs he's done, and he has like 500 clones. Um,
Wow,
it's wild. So I was like, I hope I can do like two figures as good as they do, you know. So it's cool
that
though.
is crazy. I'll have to
Yeah.
take a look at his stuff then, because I like the clones. That's the one thing is I love clones, but there's just so many of them, and they're all so cool. But I was like, if I
Uh,
get into collecting them, like it's never gonna
it
end because
never
there's so
ends.
many of them. There's so many different styles, like the different
Hmm.
Italians, things like that. I'm like, ugh, like they're cool, but I gotta just like I gotta reel it in.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing to get into if you're trying not to spend money. It's like Funkos, you know. You're like, damn
Yeah.
it, why did I do this to myself? But then you also love it. So
Yes, I do like the Clone Wars like era though. Like I think that
mhm.
it just has some of the greatest like story arcs and things
Oh,
like that. The characters, the armor, like just
hmm,
I love Clone Wars. So I think it's cool that you have a lot of the Clone Wars like hot toys and stuff.
thank
Mostly,
you. Yeah,
mainly, I
that's my
guess.
favorite as well. It's just so, like you said, the armor, the look of characters, the arcs, the in you get more idea and depth of characters that didn't get much. Like Darth Maul has a whole.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
his story's insane. It's insane. So it's really good. I hope people watch it, even though it's a cartoon. You know, if you don't watch it because you won't be disappointed. It is so good.
I say that all the time. I'm like people hate on the animated shows, but I think it has some of the best like writing. It has some of the best plot. Like
Mm-hmm.
I get it's animated and it can be perceived as like kid show, but it's just it's a great Star
It
Wars. Like
is.
it is really good stuff. Like if you can get past the animation and like thinking that it's childish and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like there are some deeper things to it.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the whole Darth Maul arc and stuff like that is crazy. And then it kind
wild.
of like carries over into like Rebels and stuff. And people don't
Mm-hmm.
watch Rebels either. And I was like, oh, like Clone Wars and Rebels are some amazing like
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars. Like two of my favorite shows probably.
Oh, and Rebels is not that Clone Wars isn't, but Rebels is so deep. It gets so adult and so. I mean, they're like blasting, stormtroopers in the face, point blank, and then like run off laughing. You're like, this isn't a kids show. This is wild.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great, both of them.
they are. They are really cool. But those are all of the pictures that you sent me.
Okay.
And my last two questions before we wrap up.
Mhm.
The second to last one is what is your favorite piece in your collection?
Ooh, oh my god, I should have known you would ask something like this. Oh man, so favorite. If I had to pick my all-time favorite piece, man, that is tough because I think I know. My favorite I think is I have a custom quarter scale scout trooper statue that's displayed with the helmet. And that's really important to me because that's from a friend, Kev Dio, who's an amazing collector up in Ohio. Um, and he made this thing, which I was going through a lot of crazy like hard times in 2019, just with like work and everything, and that's why I sold a lot of my collection to make up for stuff. And it was just I was down, and he had this statue that he made, and he sent it to me out of nowhere with the thing that said like, "Hey, I hope this helps." Blah blah. It just it was just really important that I got that at that time, and it motivated me to do my custom statue. So I think that might be my favorite piece in my collection is that statue, for sure.
Okay. No, sometimes your favorite piece doesn't have to be because it's like super expensive or
Mhm.
anything like that. It could just be something that you made, and because you made it and put the
Yeah,
time in, it's special. Or if someone gifted to you, like that makes it
yeah,
special. So
that's
everyone's reason for what their favorite piece is and what it is
mm,
always very interesting to hear about. So I
yeah,
appreciate you sharing that.
very sentimental. Or this Vader because this Vader helmet's awesome.
That
That's
is
the second one.
Okay, gotcha. And then my last question is, as this is a collecting podcast, if
Mhm.
you could give one piece of advice to any other collector out there, whether they're new, experienced, what would that one piece of advice be?
Um, just collect what you love. Doesn't matter what it is. If you love Jar Jar, if you love The Last Jedi for some reason, just enjoy collecting. People are gonna like different things. Don't be deterred by thinking you can't, you know, whatever like what you like. Collect it. I love prequels, and I know a lot of the guys don't love the prequels. But it doesn't stop me. So just collect what you love. Just enjoy it. It's fun. It's a hobby. So have fun with it. Love it. That's it. You
Yeah,
know.
that is some good advice. Everyone loves different things, but you just got to collect what you love because that's what makes you happy at the end of the
Exactly.
day. Okay, well, that was all that I had, and I really appreciate you coming on and finally getting
Yeah.
able to do this with me. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I know we were trying to hook it up for a while there, and things just get crazy with life. But I'm glad. Yeah, we finally talked and did all this. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you again for coming on. Before we
Mhm,
hop off, can you let people know one more time where they can find you if you have anything
mhm.
upcoming that you want them to be on the lookout for?
Yeah. J2SO on Instagram, and then Spice Runners Lounge on YouTube. Friday nights at 9. And we're just kind of hanging out. And I'm going to be posting some of that Bausch work in progress stuff. So if you like Bausch helmets, then help watch me. Hopefully, not mess this thing up.
Yeah,
We'll see.
absolutely. And I will put all of your information down in the description. So definitely
Oh,
go check out his channel and the Spice Runners Lounge. They do some great stuff. It's always a great time. So make
thank you.
sure to go head over there. And again, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I will see everybody in the next episode. Bye, guys.